Hello and welcome to Nick's Nerd News. This is where you come to listen to breaking news when it comes to the nerd world. That means we have breaking video game news, movie news, and TV news. If you want to hear about the latest games, the latest movies, and everything else, stick around. Because here's your host, Nick, from a tiny studio in San Diego.
What's up? What is up? How are you guys doing on this lovely summer evening? You guys having a good day? Did you have a good day? You having a good week? It's been a week since I spoke. Yeah, man, it's fun. It's been hot, kind of the last few days. That's for damn sure. And look, I know I went really long last week. I'm going to do my best to not go for almost 2 hours. That's not a fun listen, right? I mean, you guys want to in out quick. Exactly. So it's a good day. It's a good day. We're going to talk about quite a bit. Comic-Con was this past weekend. We're going to talk about that. I watched 2 movies, Happy Gilmore, Fantastic Four. Anyway, watched Rick and Morty season finale. That episode was, damn. We're going to talk about that. There's some other gaming news that came out over the week. Obviously, movies and TV kind of take the forefront Comic-Con weekend. But, no fear, we have Gamescom coming up in a few weeks, so gaming will take the forefront once again. But it's good. It's good. So, I don't want to waste any time because of the amount of time we spent last week talking about things. Why don't we get to the news? But first, why don't you head over to nixnerdnews.com? That is the one-stop shop for all things Nick's Nerd News. You can listen to the show right in your browser, or you can take us on the go, because I got links, all the links, to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Right? Also, check out the social media tab. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. We got a Facebook. And guess what? YouTube's also a social media site. What? Anyway, let's not waste any more time and get straight to the news, shall we? So, let's just get right into the gaming news, right? Battlefield 6 was shown off last Thursday, so the day after we recorded. It was essentially just a campaign trailer, going back to basics. They said, obviously, it's a modern warfare type setting, and it's weird saying modern warfare when you're not talking about COD, but it's just like that's current era. I guess that would be a better phraseology. But no, it's exactly what people want from Battlefield. Battlefield 6, they said multiplayer would be revealed. I think tomorrow is when Battlefield 6's multiplayer is going to get shown off. So, I've never got super into Battlefield. At some point, it lost me. And, I mean, I used to play like Battlefield Vietnam in 1940, or Battlefield 1942 back in the day, like original Battlefield games. So, it's whatever to me. I love how people are like, oh, Call of Duty's not real, Battlefield's real. Meanwhile, you can drive a tank onto a jet and fly the jet around with the tank on top in Battlefield. So let's not throw stones, right? Not to be that accusatory. So what I think is actually kind of cool, and regardless of my feelings on The Last of Us or not, because this is something that you don't get to see often in gaming. It happens a lot with movies. Well, it used to, at least. The Last of Us is going to be releasing their scripts in book form. So like you can get it in like a leather-bound book, the script of the games, which is really cool because I don't think a game's ever actually done this before. Yeah, part 1 and part 2 scripts, and it's a hardcover book. And like I said, it'll be written by Neil Druckmann, scripts of both games. It's right now you can get it online, pre-ordered on Amazon. It releases December 16th. So that's really cool. There's art gallery, a buckram textured cover, not sure exactly what that means. Block printing along the page edges. That will have like what the cordyceps look like on the edge of the page. So that's actually really cool, especially if you're a really big Last of Us fan. That if you have someone in your life that's a huge Last of Us fan, that's probably something that you would want to get them. So we haven't had any major updates on the Pal World lawsuit, right, with Nintendo. Well, Nintendo's suing Pocket Pair, the creators of Pal World. Well, we've learned that Nintendo has literally changed the patent that the lawsuit is about, and they've reworded it, which is strange to do during the middle of the case. So this is a wild thing. This is Nintendo gonna Nintendo, folks. I mean, it's always right there out in your face, and people don't realize it. So yeah. Let me see. Pocket Pair has made changes to Pal World's disputed mechanics, but Nintendo has updated their ride mechanic patent. That's where you ride Pokemon, which was like I said, was recently rewritten. So, yeah, that's crazy because it could lead to them winning the case. It has to do with how Pal World's characters worked, how Nintendo's riding or Pokemon riding works. So, yeah, that's crazy. We'll see what happens. Still no final word on how that will all play out yet. Invincible Versus was a new Invincible fighting game announced at E3, or one of the showcases. Well, obviously at Comic-Con, where Robert Kirkman, creator of Invincible and things like that, and Image Comics, was there, talking about Invincible and Invincible Versus, the new 3v3 tag fighting game. Well, we learned that from Skybound, it's going to be their first in-house game studio. Quarter Up is making it. That we've already know that Mark Grayson, or Invincible, will be in it. Adam Eve, Thula, Bulletproof, and Rexplode. Well, we've learned a few more characters will be in the game. And that he pretty much said there's a 99% chance, quote unquote, that characters from the show and the comic will be in the game. We also learned that Battle Beast is joining the game. No shocker there. Kirkman said, quote, "There's so much care being put into being true to the Invincible universe. So if you're a fan of the comics or the show and you're like, oh, there's a fighting game coming, who would I like to be in that fighting game? There's a 99% chance they're going to be in the game. I'll just say that. That's a spoiler. I might get in trouble for that. I don't know," unquote. So he added that it's going to be insane, things like that. So the game looks better and better the more they show it off. I'll say that. So, are you guys big fans of the Wolfenstein game? Or series? I should say game series. Well, that is the next game to get the Amazon television show treatment, as Amazon Prime Video is now exploring working with Machine Games to make a game set within the Wolfenstein universe, which interesting given the current climate on around certain things that no one's going to say no to a Nazi hunting game, right? Let's be realistic, but making a whole television show about it would be interesting, obviously set in an alternate history. If you guys didn't know, that's what the Wolfenstein games are based upon. And Amazon MGM is working with Bethesda to work on it. So this would be their second game to be adapted by Amazon MGM. And it'll be interesting to see. It's going to be Amazon MGM is working with production company Kilter Films, who also develops the Fallout show. For the project, Jonathan Nolan, Lisa Joy, and Athena Wickman are all on board as executive producers as well. So it'll be interesting. This looks like it's going full on. It's in development, so we'll know more. This is all from Variety. Be interesting to see what happens and how this show goes and who they'll cast as BJ Blazkowicz. So we all know that Clair Obscur at Expedition 33 took the world by storm, especially as a turn-based game, where Square Enix, on the other hand, has not released a turn-based Final Fantasy in quite some time, but they recognized the greatness of Clair Obscur. Well, now we've learned that the team behind Clair Obscur from, I forget what their production company is called, Sandfall. Well, a team from Sandfall went to Japan and visited with members of Square Enix's staff and developers to maybe talk about ideas, exchange rich ideas, they said, which is great. That's awesome to hear. The team from Sandfall met with different development leads at Square Enix, like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's director Naoki Hamaguchi and Visions of Mana's director Ryosuke Yoshida. Clair Obscur director Guillaume Broche, producer Francois Melrus. I'm butchering these names, by the way. Tom Guillermin. I don't speak French, so that's a big part of it. And Kepler Interactive CEO, they're the publisher, Alexis Garavarian. They went to the office in Japan, and Hamaguchi posted it, so saying, quote, they visited the Square Enix office for a creatively rich exchange of visions and ideas, unquote. That is awesome to hear. Maybe, just maybe, Square Enix might put turn-based back in their games. Who knows? We'll see. We will see. So, I know Comic-Con was this weekend. We kind of talked about it at the beginning. Obviously, a lot of things are going to come out. A lot of news, a lot of different stories, things like that. We got an update on the God of War television show from showrunner Ronald D. Moore, famous for working on Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, For All Mankind. He is working with Amazon for an adaptation of God of War. He's also the executive producer. He's been doubling down on not playing the game and explaining it because he grew up in the arcade era. Like, I think that's a stupid excuse personally. It's like, just admit you can't play video games, dude. Like, it's okay. He did say that he's been watching the cutscenes. I've seen a lot of people take issue with that. I think that's better than not living in the lore at all. As we saw with Halo, they didn't play the games, they didn't watch cutscenes, they didn't do anything, it seems like. I mean, watching the cutscenes as a movie is still a little bit better than actual gameplay. It's still better than not doing anything, personally. It's still not great, but it's, like I said, it's better than nothing. He expanded on what he's kind of going for with the show and things like that, which is great. That's good news. He said some good things and things that people definitely picked up on. But you can look at his interview online. IGN, I think, posted it. on their YouTube and things like that, or you can find the transcript of it online as well. But some things he said were good, some things he said were interesting. It'll be definitely something we're going to watch and pay attention to see what happens with the game moving forward. So, moving on, the UK recently launched a new law aimed at protecting minors online. It's a new protection and privacy law. It's called the Online Safety Act, which, if you look at how they've conducted some things, it doesn't make sense. Well, Microsoft has begun asking Xbox users in the UK for age verifications because of this new law. It is right now only been rolled out to accounts that have already been flagged as belonging to owners aged 18 and over within the UK. But the process is optional, but will go into full effect early next year. Accounts that have not been verified will lose access to looking for group functions and custom clubs and be limited to voice and text communication, party functionality and game invites, plus user-generated content just amongst Xbox friends. Integration with Discord will be disabled, as will the ability to broadcast to Twitch. This is all official from Xbox. They put out saying, quote, age verification is a new feature being introduced for players logging into an Xbox experience with Microsoft accounts based in the UK. It helps ensure that we can continue to provide players on our platform with age-appropriate experiences and keep the Xbox community safe. If you have an existing account or are setting up a new one, you may be asked to verify your age using Yoti, a trusted and secure third-party identity verification service, unquote. So there you go. If you're in the UK and you're wondering why you're being asked that, that's why. Over to PlayStation now. They finally pulled the lid off their upcoming new fight stick that they teased last month during one of their state of plays. So it is a first-party fight stick being made by Sony and PlayStation. It is going to be wireless, and it's called the Flex Strike. So that's interesting. Still no pricing on it, but it will be available sometime in 2026. But it will be on display at EVO Las Vegas this weekend. EVO Fighting Tournament. Remember, PlayStation owns part of them. Sony is promising what they claim will be ultra-low latency through a wireless connection to PS5 or PC. You can play with a wired connection if you like, but it's not as customizable as some other fight pads, that's for sure. They're claiming it has an ergonomic design with, quote, high-quality digital stick, unquote. It's custom designed by Sony, toolless interchangeable restrictor gates. So you can choose between square, circle, or octagon. Oh, okay, so it is somewhat customizable. And they're all stored within the controller's compartment. Hey, look, why do all fight sticks just have storage compartments in their boxes? It will come with a carrying case. You can use it at the same time your DualSense controller is connected. So you can use it as an additional controller for navigating menus between fights, Sony is saying. That's interesting. Still no pricing. I'm sure it's going to be close to $200, and given tariffs, probably around that price for real. Sticking with Sony here, they are suing. So here's another game giant suing another company. They are suing Tencent, and honestly, they have a valid case here. Tencent announced their game. What is this? It was filed in a California court this past week that the game from Tencent called Light of Motoram is illegally similar to Horizon Zero Dawn. And honestly, looking at all the images, yes, it blatantly fucking obvious. The character literally has the same headgear as Aloy. It's got robotic animals. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world. It's there's no way this case doesn't go in Sony's favor. There's no possible way. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if Tencent somehow comes away from this winning. Switching over to Nintendo, we're talking about all big three today. Pokemon, the Pokemon Company, might have stolen fan art, which is getting happening a lot lately with major corporations. Lucasfilm has gotten in trouble quite a bit for stealing fan art of Star Wars ships and things like that, which is not in any way that they want to be involved with. But the fan community is in uproar over TCG Pocket, a TCG Pocket design for a card that might have come from, like I said, fan art. But Pokemon's official stance may mean that the company can take it anyway, which is dangerous, slippery slope. But fan artist Ian Juju posted comparison images of artwork they created in 2021 showing Ho-Oh alongside an upcoming card for the mobile game for the expansion called Wisdom of the Sea and Sky, showing Ho-Oh in exactly the same pose. And looking at the art, it's almost blatantly obvious. So their post on Twitter caught the attention of other fans. Obviously, it spread like wildfire through the community. There's a video comparison being made by Lutube, another Pokemon creator. So, that's not good. But it was a commission that was paid for by someone else, as Ian Juju said on their Twitter. And there was always a possibility that data mined card design being shared was fake that they saw. They wrote on Twitter saying, quote, I was just shocked after seeing the leaked image, so I posted it. As a fan, I might be the one most reluctant to believe this matter, unquote. But it was commissioned by PC House Studio. They make and sell unofficial models of anime and video game characters. And in 2022, a model featuring Ho-Oh and other legendary birds looks to feature the same pose as the artwork. So, and now the official TCG Pocket card now features the same pose as the bootleg figurine as well. So we don't know, though, if it was official art, as this card wasn't officially available in the app until today. I did see there was an update, so we'll go to that in a second. But apparently it was all data mined. We don't know. That doesn't always mean it's final. But the Pokemon Company's legal stance on fan art, which suggests as the corporation has free reign to use whatever creator-made content it wishes, in return for allowing its designs to be used by fans. So because they give it essentially a free reign to be used and they're not going to throw a copyright notice at you, they can essentially take it. Legally, I guess that's okay. I don't know how I feel about that from an ethical standpoint, per se. Granted, I get it, especially in the world of AI and everything right now. Their legal statement that is available publicly says, quote, distribution in any form and any channels now known or in the future of derivative works based on the copyrighted property, trademarks, service marks, trade names, and other propriety property, i.e. fan art, of the Pokemon Company International, Inc., its affiliates and licensors, Pokemon, constitutes a royalty-free, non-exclusive, irrevocable, transferable, sub-licensable, worldwide license from the fan art's creator to Pokemon to use, transmit, copy, modify, and display fan art and its derivatives for any purpose, unquote. That's where they get away with it. It is a royalty-free. You are allowed to, it's essentially free use on Pokemon images. And they can just take it right back. If you put it online for other people to use, you're putting it online for the Pokemon Company to use. Statement goes on to say, quote, no further consideration or compensation of any kind will be given for any fan art. Fan art creator gives up any claims that the use of the fan art violates any of their rights, including moral rights, privacy rights, proprietary rights, publicity rights, rights to credit for material or ideas, or any other right, including the right to approve the way which such material is used. In no uncertain terms, does Pokemon's use of fan art constitute a grant to fan art's creator to use the Pokemon intellectual property or fan art beyond a personal, non-commercial home use, unquote. So, I get it. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't necessarily agree, which, interesting take, but the Pokemon Company did respond today and has pulled that card from circulation, in the app at least. So, that's funny. So, both the Ho-Oh and Lugia card have been pulled from the game. The Pokemon Company said it, quote, deeply apologized for any inconvenience, unquote, and they're conducting a review of all other cards to make sure no other designs were at fault, saying, quote, to our community, thank you for continued support and passion for Pokemon trading card game Pocket. We want to share an important update regarding the upcoming expansion, Wisdom of the Sea and Sky. It has come to our attention that there was a production issue regarding the illustration of Ho-Oh featured in the immersive card artwork for Ho-Oh EX and Lugia EX. After internal review, we discovered that the card production team provided incorrect materials as official documents to the illustrator commissioned to create these cards. As a result, both cards have been replaced with a temporary placeholder that the team is actively working to replace with new artwork as soon as it's ready. We are also conducting a broader investigation to ensure no similar issues exist elsewhere in the game, unquote. You're getting a blank card now. I don't play the game, but it literally says new art coming soon. That's fucking hilarious, dude. That's wild. But I'm happy they kind of took it seriously and don't want to get embroiled in it. They don't actually want to, while yes, they have the legal right to do it, it's obvious that they don't actually want to get embroiled in controversy like that. So, but they don't want to, essentially they don't want fans to stop making fan art. They did then follow up another statement saying, quote, to all our players who have been looking forward to this expansion and the talented illustrators who bring the Pokemon world to life, we deeply apologize for any inconvenience this has caused. We take this matter very seriously and are committed to strengthening our quality control processes to prevent this from happening again. Thank you for your understanding, patience, and continued support of Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. We remain dedicated to delivering an experience that you can enjoy, unquote. Well, that's good on them that they made it right, though. I will say that. Now we turn our heads to EA. Andrew Wilson, CEO of EA, says they're going all in on college basketball. Obviously, this was teased a few weeks back, that a month ago, really, that they were bringing EA college basketball back. But they really want to remind people that they're really doing it. During the quarter one earnings call, CEO Andrew Wilson was asked about it in response to the tweet, and he said, quote, we can't say too much about it yet, but if I think about the opportunity, going back to where we are on college football, college sport has one of the most vibrant fan bases in the world, and that trickles over to basketball certainly. We're seeing momentum of fandom in college basketball also continue to grow. Fans, athletes, universities pour their passion into these sports, and it is that passion that makes it special, that makes the games different. But with that comes high expectations and a demand for deeply authentic experiences, capturing the action on the field or the court, representing the energy, pageantry, and traditions, and celebrating the unique sights and sounds and stories of every school and rivalry. We feel like we deliver that incredibly well with college football. We'd love to do the same for basketball. All 350 programs, men's and women's teams, the iconic traditions and rivalries, and of course, March Madness. So for us, college sports broadly is an exciting opportunity. We feel like we've done a really strong job and remain committed to doing that in the context of college football. We believe that with what we've done with the teams, the technology, and our commitment around college football, we'd have a great ability to do the same thing for college basketball. And as we look to try and activate against that opportunity, we'll be able to share more, unquote. Solid answer, dancing around the subject, clearly, but it's good news for what people want to hear. And in that same earnings call, he was asked about $80 games. Obviously, Nintendo has made that jump. Ubisoft, I think, is. Microsoft started to and pulled back. And Andrew Wilson said, quote, "We're not looking to make any changes on pricing at this stage. That's in the construct of we already offer a fairly broad pricing scheme across our various products. When you think about everything from free-to-play through to our premium products, deluxe and deluxe editions, our orientation is always to capture the full spectrum of pricing, so that we can serve players in the best way possible and offer them the greatest value. We'll continue to look at opportunities to deliver great value to our players through various pricing schemes over the course of time, but no dramatic changes planned yet," unquote. Look at that. Look at that. EA, for once, not being the bad guy. I mean, obviously, we all know $80 games are going to come across the board everywhere, so it's not shocking, given how expensive game development is and prices kind of held at $60 for like 20 years. It's interesting to see, but their fiscal year ends in March next year, so there's always the possibility that they jump up to, $80 sometime in the middle of next year. But we'll see how that goes moving forward. And then shifting over to their largest competitor, Activision, who technically is owned by Microsoft. We know that. We learned some things about Call of Duty Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Warzone, especially with upcoming Season 5, which launches on August 7th. So that's just about a week from tomorrow. They're calling it, quote, "Unleash Your Inner Action Hero," unquote. New stuff coming to Warzone, to Zombies. There's a bunch of new maps. There's new score streaks. A whole lot of new things, new gameplay modes, new weapons, new skins, new everything, essentially. So, and new events and operators and everything like that. Which is a lot to come in more than likely what may or may not be its final season as we get closer and closer to the release of Black Ops 7. And they made a change with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. They're removing them from the Call of Duty HQ, which is kind of like the launcher. They're now standalone games again, which is good because you kind of had to install them, and it's messing with the achievements and everything like that. But Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 have been ditched from the launcher as they get ready to get ready for the release of Black Ops 7 later this year. It will be any legacy content relating to either game within the main Call of Duty install will be automatically removed and free up storage space. But Warzone content will not be affected. But get rid of that fucking shit off my hard drive, the games. I'm not playing them. So that's really good to hear. We'll see, though, what happens as Black Ops 7 is expected, I think, in October. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when that game launches later this year. And let's see. Black Ops 7. Riot Games has announced that their card battler game based on League of Legends finally has a release date. So it's called Riftbound. It will launch on October 31st in multiple regions. The physical game will be available to pre-order from their merch store starting August 4th. And They want to make it, Riot says it's, quote, one of the primary goals of the Riftbound team is making Riftbound accessible as possible to League of Legends players and TCG players alike as soon as possible, unquote. So, a store locator will go live on August 4th, where you can find it in local game stores. Wait a minute. Is this a physical TCG game? Or is this like an actual video game? Oh shit, it's an actual physical card game. Look at that. They said, quote, select mass market stores may have Riftbound available at launch as well, unquote. So there you go. If you want to play a physical TCG game based on League of Legends, you will be able to starting October. And then we'll round out with Xbox here. Obviously, EA had their quarter one's earning call. Most major corporations are having their quarter one's earnings call. Microsoft they had their quarter four earnings call realistically for full year financial year results of the last 12 months ending June 30th. And he announced, Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, announced that revenue for Game Pass is nearly $5 billion. He didn't give specific revenue numbers for Game Pass, but that over the last year it achieved, quote, nearly $5 billion in revenue, unquote. Unfortunately, subscriber numbers were not shared. However, about a year ago, they said that it had reached 34 million players. That was in February of 2024, based on a LinkedIn post. However, there's a rumor via an unverified post that it had reached 35 million players this year. But most likely that growth has to do with price hikes on Game Pass. Game Pass has gotten more expensive. But also more and more games have been added to the service over the last year as well. Also on the earnings call, revenue for Xbox was up 10% year over year. Content and services revenue was up 13%, driven by growth in first-party content, including Game Pass. However, hardware revenue was down year over year by 22%, which makes sense. No new console or anything like that. But that should be expected to grow closer to the holidays, things like that. That's it for gaming news, though. Let's head on up the 5 freeway and see what's going on in Hollywood, shall we? Might just take the coast up on the train. So Ironheart just recently ended, and we thought we were going to have to wait about a month or so for more MCU content. Obviously, Fantastic Four is out. Well, Black Panther: Eyes of Wakanda, the animated show that's going to have like 4 episodes on Disney Plus, which was originally slated to launch late August, has officially moved up to release this upcoming Friday. So you'll be able to start watching Black Panther: Eyes of Wakanda on Friday on Disney Plus. Let's cover some Comic-Con news. It's going to be, most of this stuff is going to be, Comic-Con related news, obviously with it being over the weekend. We learned that Critical Role is getting a new television show on Amazon Prime. It is a spin-off of The Legend of Vox Machina called The Mighty Nine, and 9 is spelled N-E-I-N, as in nine, German for no. And with a voice cast announcement as well at their panel. This will hit Amazon Prime Video on November 19th. Will include the main Critical Role cast. This new cast for the Mighty Nine includes a good list of guest actors like Alan Cumming, Mark Strong, Tim McGraw, which I'm kind of shocked by, Anika Noni Rose, Ming-Na Wen, Olili Crovalo, Raul Coley, Robbie Damond, and Jonathan Frakes. Hell yeah. I'm going to watch just because of Riker's in it. Hell yeah. And we do know that Critical Role is getting their own television show or a video game as well. So Here's an official blurb on the Mighty Nine. Quote, "The Mighty Nine follows a group of fugitives and outcasts bound by secrets and scars. But when a powerful arcane relic known as the Beacon falls into dangerous hands, they must learn to work together to save the realm and stop reality itself from unraveling." Unquote. So the Mighty Nine adapts Campaign 2 from Critical Role. It will be set in the same world as Vox Machina, but takes place 20 years later. So the main cast, so those were the guest stars, the main cast will be voicing new and different characters. We also learned that The Legend of Vox Machina has been renewed for a 5th and final season at Amazon, so that will be coming later in the year as well. So South Park premiered last week, and we talked about the whole fight that Trey Parker and Matt Stone got into with Paramount, and then, of course, the whole Stephen Colbert thing, which they somehow all made reference to in last week's episode. And it ended on a very interesting note, for sure. The return of Satan, who happens to be dating a new I didn't say any word, a new person. I'm sure you've seen it by now. And it also features that same person in a deepfake video that they somehow got by censors. They wasted no time. No time at all. They said they were able to get that scene past censors because they put googly eyes on it. So it's a character, not a certain phallic appendage. But no fucking time wasted by the South Park team. But they had a panel at Comic-Con. Obviously, that came up. And they had a Hall H panel, which is wild. They apologized, saying, quote, "We're very sorry," unquote. But they don't know when the next episode is going to air. The situation to them, they said it's super stressful, but it will continue to skewer certain characters. But they said they were able. I'm not even gonna watch the episode. That's all I'm gonna say. You got to watch it to understand what is happening. Lucasfilm had a big booth at Comic-Con, and we got our first look at the Darth Maul show. Darth Maul, or called Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord, as well as an image of Ezra Bridger from Season 2 of Ahsoka. The image of Maul is just him holding his lightsaber somewhere. That's it. I know they showed a trailer at Celebration. I don't remember if it was a finished trailer or not. That was never really leaked online or anything. But Sam Witwer will reprise his role as Darth Maul. I think we've known that for a while. But it will be set after the final season of the Clone Wars, and it will see Maul, quote, "plotting to rebuild his criminal syndicate on a planet untouched by the Empire," unquote. It is expected to release sometime next year. And then the other image was Ezra Bridger in his new costume for Season 2 of Ahsoka. It looks like he shaved his beard. No word yet on when Ahsoka Season 2 will drop. They're currently filming or finishing up production now on that. So, here's one of the few non-Comic-Con stories. Disney announced that a new Air Bud movie is releasing next year. From Air Bud Entertainment. Is it not Disney anymore? I'm confused. Oh, I thought Disney still did Air Bud. That's new. So I guess they did, but this new one will be from Air Bud Entertainment and Cineverse. It will be released theatrically sometime next year, and this is typical of all these remakes now, that they're somehow tied to the original in a meta way. So the official description is, quote, "In Air Bud Returns, 12-year-old Jacob has always dreamt of being a star basketball player. After the passing of his father, that dream felt even more impossible. But everything changes when he and his mom move into his dad's childhood home in Fernfield. There, Jacob discovers an original VHS of the Air Bud movie and his father's belongings, and has a chance meeting of a stray golden retriever he names Buddy. Together they embark on a journey of healing, unite a team of misfits, and chase a championship. Through it all, they learn to play from the heart, believe in each other, and always take the shot. Unquote. This makes me feel old, because clearly this child's father is in my age range. Jesus. Is it getting to that point already? What I don't like is that it's like this weird things like, oh, look at this movie. Oh, look at me. I happen to stumble upon a dog that can do it too. No. Just set it within. Robert Vince, who was a producer on the original film and directed and wrote many of the sequels in the franchise as well, will be the writer and director for Air Bud Returns, saying that, quote, it tells a deeply human story with themes of adaptation, redemption, and teamwork. Air Bud Returns isn't just another sequel or remake, it's a unique story. This movie will engage nostalgic Air Bud fans while introducing a new generation to the beloved basketball-playing golden retriever Buddy. It builds upon the legacy of the OG Air Bud with all the fun, the magic, heartwarming scenes, and Buddy playing basketball, unquote. Well, we know it won't be the original dog, because that dog died a year after the original movie, which is sad. It's very sad. How much airplay will an Air Bud movie get in 2026, though, is the real question. Let's go back to Comic-Con. Aztec Batman was announced, a new animated film from Warner Brothers, which looks really sick. I like the animation style they picked. Like I said, it's called Aztec Batman Clash of Empires. It will be released on HBO Max and in Mexican theaters by Cinépolis later this year. Ooh, I wonder if we get it because Cinépolis is here, if we'll get it in theaters here. It's all based on like conquistadors and Aztec warriors. A young Aztec boy watches his family get murdered by literally like Hernan Cortez, and he becomes Batman. Cortez becomes Two-Face, which is really fucking cool. And then another member of the Aztec becomes the Joker. They're essentially all the Batman rogues gallery is here. But yeah, this movie looks friggin' sick, dude. But I'm excited to see how this plays out. But hopefully it comes to U.S. Cinépolis theaters. But on HBO Max, it'll be September 19th, which definitely going to watch that. Watch the trailer if you haven't seen it. It's really fucking cool. We also finally got a trailer for Spinal Tap 2, which it's been a long time coming. But it's called Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. It will release on September 12th. It stars pretty much the original cast, as well as some new people as well. It looks so funny. If you know anything about the original film, they're finally keeping it up. Also, it's a Christopher Guest movie, and Christopher Guest movies are always good. I've liked just about every single one of them. Going back to the panel for Invincible, Robert Kirkman, who, of course, created the comic, like I said, when we were talking about the game, was talking about the show, and we've learned that Matthew Rhys will voice Dinosaurus in Season 4 of Invincible. The show is expected to release sometime next year, so that's good to hear, because Season 3 ended several months back. Matthew Rhys, of course, famously portrayed Philip Jennings in The Americans. He is British, if people didn't realize that as well. Dinosaurus is expected to be the next major villain after Conquest. And Dinosaurus is trying to heal the world of humans, essentially. It's eco-terrorism, right? Thrag has all Thrag's voice lines have been recorded. He still hasn't revealed who is playing Thrag, who is the head of the Viltrumites in the comics, and is the main villain of the Invincible saga. But he did say that during the panel, he needs at least 7 to 9 seasons will be needed to tell the entire story of the comics, saying, quote, roughly 7 to 8 to 9 seasons I think would be necessary to do the complete arc from the comics of Invincible. So we'll see. Hopefully we get there. We get a ton of support from Amazon Prime and couldn't be more thrilled with how things are going. So very excited and hopeful for it, unquote. That's good to hear. Didn't they just get renewed for a 5th season? Yeah, they did. They did get renewed for a 5th season. He even said, quote, season 5 will be out in 2032. You can quote me on that, unquote. Which is, it's funny because they're taking so long. But we'll see what happens with season 4 when that drops sometime next year. We got a new trailer for Gen V, the Boys spinoff, which I'm very intrigued by. A, Starlight's in it, so she's going to have a role in it this season. And B, I'm shocked to see them, spoilers here, I'm shocked to see all the kids out of their, imprisonment. At the end of season 1, they were locked in a lab, essentially. But it looks like they're allowed to go back to school to see how things play out. And it looks like maybe they're not all going to be supporting Homelander like he might have thought. The big news, at least for me, was the big Star Trek panel on Saturday. And we learned a couple of things. We learned that season 4 of Strange New Worlds, which is already in production, is going to have an episode where everyone is puppets. They teamed with the Jim Henson Company, yes, that Jim Henson Company, to produce a Muppet-based episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. We got to see Captain Pike, and it looks amazing. But the other big news was we officially got a trailer for Star Trek Starfleet Academy, the new show that is set in the 32nd century, continuing from where Star Trek Discovery left off. I'm very excited for this show because the Doctor from Star Trek Voyager is returning. How that's going to work is interesting because, of course, he's a hologram, if you didn't know. But there's a lot of callbacks to Deep Space Nine. For one, if you it's a blink and you'll miss it, but it looks like a course being taught at the Academy is what happened to Sisko, where is he? As we all know, Captain Sisko hasn't been seen or heard from in almost 30 years since the series finale of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And second major thing, at least I noticed, a Jem'Hadar has joined Starfleet. The Jem'Hadar were a cloned alien race that were some of the most brutal and vicious villains in the Star Trek universe. And I'm shocked to see one of them in Starfleet, even 1,000 years in the future. So hopefully we won't have to wait too long. We got some details about Holly Hunter's character. Apparently she's 400 years old. We got to see Paul Giamatti's character. We got to see a young Klingon in Starfleet Academy. They're keeping the normal design of Klingons. They're not using the Discovery Klingon, so that's good. But I'm excited for Star Trek. More of it, please. We finally have a release date for Coyote vs. Acme. That will release 1 year from August 28th, so 2026. Myself and others are confused because isn't that movie done? And why do we need to wait another year? And maybe it has to do for legal reasons. Who knows? James Gunn and John Cena surprised the Comic-Con crowd by both being there for the Peacemaker panel. We got a new trailer for Season 2 of Peacemaker, and it teased the multiverse, multiple Peacemakers, the return of several characters that we thought dead after Season 1, and more eagerly. So sign me up for that. And James Gunn clarified canonicity in the DCU. Right now, as of now, the DCU started with Creature Commandos, then Superman, and then Peacemaker. However, Anything that's in Peacemaker is canon. Anything referenced in Peacemaker is canon. Anything that is in Previously On is canon. So we'll find out what is and what isn't canon real soon when Peacemaker Season 2 debuts. I think later this year or early next year. I don't think, did it give a, 1 second. I'll see if it gave a release date. August 21st. I don't know how I missed that. That's literally less than a month away. And there's a new opening theme song. So that'll be interesting to see. Family Guy is getting Halloween and holiday specials exclusively on Hulu. That was announced at Comic-Con, which I'm kind of surprised by that. But return, have they done it before? I don't remember that. The Halloween special will be called A Little Fright Music, and it'll be about Brian and Stewie realize there's a shortage of quality Halloween songs. Oh God! And then we don't know anything about the other holiday special. Season 24 premieres in 2026 on Fox. So Fantastic Four won the weekend. No surprise there. It made $118 million domestically, another $118 million globally. So a total of $218 million across the globe. Fourth biggest domestic opening of 2025, behind a Minecraft movie, Lilo and Stitch, and Superman. So you can kind of say who won there. Superman hit $500 million this weekend, so that's a real great big news there. That is the best opening weekend for a Marvel movie since Deadpool and Wolverine, and is comfortably ahead of both Captain America, Brave New World, and Thunderbolts, which is a shame for Thunderbolts. Superman also did $217 million globally, so they're about the same, globally at least. However, will Fantastic Four continue to make money at the box office moving forward is the real question. Yeah, we don't have another Marvel movie, though, until July, so... Yep, that's now the second highest gross. Superman hit $500 million. Jurassic World Rebirth hit $708 million globally. It's marching its way to $1 billion, folks. And the F1 movie has hit $509 million at the global box office as well. That's good news. We'll talk about Fantastic Four later. Ariana Grande is joining the fourth Meet the Parents film called Fockers-in-Law. That's all we know, and it's coming out next year. That sounds fun. Also at Comic-Con, a former co-star of Robin Williams says that his voice should be revived using AI. I don't know how I feel about that, especially with a performer like Robin Williams. Matthew Lawrence, yes, that Matthew Lawrence, was who played Williams' son in Mrs. Doubtfire, said that he would love to see it happen. It's weird to hear actors say it, because like it's going after them. Telling Deadline, quote, "I would love," now obviously with the respect and with the okay from his family, but I would love to do something really special with his voice, because I know for a generation that voice is just so iconic. It's not just the fact that I knew him and worked with him, and so it's in my head, it's in everybody's head, and it would be so cool, unquote. Okay, at least he said with permission from the family. Obviously, that'd be super important. And yes, his voice is iconic. I don't know if we should use anything with AI, because his voice is recorded everywhere, and we can just go back and listen to those things. And other actors have given their permission while alive, so that's a little different. It's still very controversial to a lot of people. Especially with what happened with Darth Vader in Fortnite. So, I don't know. I guess Lawrence said, quote, "It's kind of like this very contemporary, modern, almost sort of foreshadowing of what's going on commercial that he did, where he did this computerized voiceover. And it always stuck with me, and then during his passing with the AI coming out, I'm like, man, he's got to be the voice of AI. He's got to be the voice in something. So yeah, I would love to do that, unquote. I mean, hell, I would love to hear Robin Williams' voice in a lot of things too, but at the same time, I don't know, man. I don't know. This past weekend, we got a new trailer for Avatar: The Way, Fire and Ash, the third Avatar film releasing this year. Honestly, this movie looks way fucking cooler than Way of Water did. I had zero interest and have yet to watch the second Avatar film. Like, zero interest at all. I can't even remember the last time I watched the first one. This movie, on the other hand, looks way fucking cooler. You got the Na'vi, the blue aliens, this volcano tribe. They're going to join with the humans. Shit gets fucked up. There's a lot more explosions and guns in this one than what looked like in Way of Water. And another thing that struck me, and I saw this trailer with Fantastic Four, it ends with the head of the fire tribe saying, "Your goddess has no dominion here." Like, oh fuck. I'm in. I'm all in on this one. I don't know why this one's looks that much cooler than the second one. Now I have to watch the second one, but luckily I can wait till December. But yeah, I actually want to see Avatar: Fire and Ash. The Friday the 13th franchise is returning after legal battles have all been settled. It has been announced that both a movie and video game are both in the works. So, Horror Inc.'s Robbie Barsamian, who at Comic-Con, that while a new movie is in development, a new game is also in development. No other details were announced, but he just said they're both coming, and that's good to hear after the franchise was in a legal battle. We learned at Comic-Con as well that Steven Yeun will be voicing an adult Zuko in Aang, the Last Avatar animated movie from Nickelodeon. Eddie Murphy casually announced that he's playing Inspector Clouseau in a Pink Panther reboot. No other details on that. We got a new trailer for Zootopia 2, which explains why they're going after a snake. I guess snakes haven't been seen in Zootopia for X number of years, and Judy and Nick, the fox, are tasked with hunting the viper down. And the viper is saying they're trying to save their family. Let me go. So let's talk about all the big trailers from Comic-Con. I think I talked about most of them. Peacemaker Season 2, Aztec Batman. There was a trailer for Welcome to Derry, the It prequel series. Still don't know what that's all about. Spinal Tap 2, of course. There was a new Alien game shown off. Alien Rogue Incursion Part 1. Invincible Versus, Battle Beast, we talked about. Gen V Season 2. The Mighty Nine did get a trailer. Shin Godzilla is getting a North American re-release, remastered in 4K. I'm excited because I've never seen that movie, and it came out in 2016. Percy Jackson's and the Olympians Season 2 trailer was shown off. The Long Walk got a new trailer. More gameplay of Scott Pilgrim EX. Silent Night, Deadly Night's sequel, which is the sequel, a remake of the original film, got a trailer. Legend of Vox Machina Season 4 trailer. Toxic Crusaders, which looks like a spin-off of Toxic Avenger. Spartacus House of Azure, another Spartacus show? Let that franchise die, my dude. Yeah, man, let it go. And then some other, we got some info about Predator Badlands. It was inspired by The Empire Strikes Back. Surprisingly, some news about Alien Earth. Project Hail Mary got a panel. We learned more about King of the Hill. I guess they're going to have more cursing in it. But yeah, Comic-Con, a little smaller than usual this year, but still dropping bangers. We've learned a little bit more, too, about the future of the X-Men franchise at Marvel Studios. According to Variety, Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige want to focus on a younger cast. And they hope that will help bring down the cost of the movie as well, because obviously they're not making $1 billion on every MCU movie anymore either. But Variety says they will begin casting the X-Men soon, but they are on the hunt for younger actors rather than A-listers to keep costs down. That goes with Kevin Feige's recent comments at that roundtable he did last week. The reboot script is being written by the Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Michael Leslie, and will be directed by the Thunderbolts director, Jake Schreier. So, we still don't know when this movie will come out. Potentially not until at least 2027 after Avengers Secret Wars. But, I don't know. They also are in no rush to work on Blade or a Deadpool 4, even though Deadpool and Wolverine was very successful. All we know is that the next Spider-Man movie releases sometime next or in July next year, and then of course Avengers Doomsday in December of 2026. The Bad Guys 2 releases in theaters this week. And we've learned that there's an AI warning in the credits for the movie. And it's not the kind of warning you think it is. It's literally a warning to AI companies like, do not use this for training. That I don't know if that would work, but DreamWorks Studios included a clause at the end of the credits for the film that says it cannot be used to train AI. And if it is, lawyers will come knocking. Oh, shit. It says, quote, all rights in this work are reserved for purposes of laws in all jurisdictions pertaining to data mining or AI training, including but not limited to Article 4.3 of Directive EU 2019-790, unquote. This work may not be used to train AI, unquote. That's awesome. Good on you, DreamWorks. Good on you. Before we get to some reviews, a couple more news items. These are post-Comic-Con news, obviously. Happy Gilmore 2, which released on Friday on Netflix, has become the U.S.'s biggest weekend opening for Netflix of all time. And K-pop Demon Hunters is their most watched animated film of all time. So, Happy Gilmore 2 had 46.7 million views in its first 3 days on the streamer, which is the most successful weekend for a Sandler film on Netflix as of right now, compared to his other releases. I think he's made like 5 or 6 for them. And then K-pop Demon Hunters, which came out on June 20th, is now the most watched animated film of all time on Netflix, and reached what Netflix is calling, quote, a new viewing peak, unquote, in its 5th week, and it's had 26.3 million views, still 20 million shy of Sandler there. But look at that. That's cool. Taron Egerton has said that he does not want to be James Bond. In a new interview with Collider, he said no when asked about it. Because Collider's like, would you go out for it? And he said, quote, I don't think I'm a good choice for it. I think I'm too messy for that. But I think I wouldn't be good at it, and I think there's so many cool younger actors who would be great for it. I think it would be wasted on me, probably. James Bond is quite an undertaking, and I think, one, as far as I'm aware, nobody's asking me to do it. But also, it's possibly not quite the thing that would make me happiest. I do think it's a big old undertaking. It kind of consumes your life, a role like that, unquote. I mean, that's kind of candid. You'd think British stars, especially action stars like him, would be like frothing at the mouth for Bond. But that's a very candid and honest take from someone who fans would like to see, but he doesn't necessarily want to do it. Rick and Morty had its season finale on Sunday, and if you follow me on socials, you saw that episode just wrecked me completely. Anyone who says Rick and Morty isn't relevant anymore or doesn't have good writing, just they're not paying attention. Realistically, that episode was profoundly deep, especially if you've lost someone close to you. I don't talk about it a lot on here, but a few years back, I did lose my girlfriend to a sickness, to an ailment, a disease, and it's hard to move on, right? And this episode was kind of about that type of grief. Yeah, it's a cartoon, and you don't think that it would cover things like that. And you know, when you start crying uncontrollably, you realize that shit hits a little deeper than you think, and you're not maybe as over it as maybe you think you are. And it reminds you how precious life can be, and how I think they would want you to move on too, right? And just it's not easy, and especially if you find someone new, and sometimes that doesn't go the way you want it to either. So I'm a big champion of Rick and Morty, and I think people need to give it a second chance, because it is profound still. It is still relevant. It is still very well written, and is not a cheap show. So I would give high marks to season 8, and Dan Harmon did say at Comic-Con that they have it planned through season 10 at least. So there's that, and it's getting a spinoff. I don't know where that all got lost in my notes, but Rick and Morty is getting a spinoff. President Curtis, starring Keith David, will be airing sometime on HBO Max in the future. And then I want to talk about the 2 movies I watched this weekend as we get dangerously close to a long episode again. Happy Gilmore I watched on Friday, and I almost turned it off in the first 5 minutes because of the decision they make. And they're defending it, and I get it. And honestly, it played out a little bit better as the movie went on. But I liked this movie to a point. I think it was funny all around, and that's good. And it was stupid in the right ways. It's like an old Sandler comedy. All the jokes they were pretty funny for the most part. My issue with it is it relies too heavily on nostalgia and callbacks to the original film and other things like that. The cameos are a tad bit gratuitous. Not the golfers. I think the golfer cameos are fine. That's kind of what the point of the movie is. But the celebrity cameos I felt were a little too much. The story is not what you think it is, given how the commercials have been playing out. I think the way it plays out as well is that it almost undercuts the entire point of the first movie in some regard. I felt that there was too much drinking, and that's a weird thing to say. And the second half, it's the second half that lost me and a few other people I talked to. I have friends that loved it and thought it was amazing too, though. So don't get me wrong. It's very mixed. I felt the second half of the movie was too reliant on CGI, and what I did enjoy somewhat that it was essentially recreating like the fight between the PGA and Live Golf. This takes it to like the next extreme level. And Reggie Bush was in the movie, which was strange, but it's too extreme, and the CGI is too much because, and maybe I'm a hater, as my friend said to me after I said it, the CGI. It's like, I don't want this heavy reliance on CGI in a comedy movie about golf. Like, the first movie wasn't like that. That's not what I'm expecting in Happy Gilmore. I'm expecting some of it, yeah, to show off his outrageous golf skills, but it's like the whole thing with the maxi golf was way too much in my opinion. But the pro golfers in it were fun. Scotty Scheffler poking fun at his arrest was good. Shooter on point, surprisingly. And I really liked Bad Bunny in the movie. He's like one of the best characters in the movie. John Daly, great in the movie. What I didn't like, though, like I said, were the too many cameos, too many callbacks. Adam Sandler was great in it, though. Don't get me wrong. And then I didn't like that, like, all his sons are crash outs like him. Like, really? That was a bit excessive, in my opinion. Some of the jokes went a little overboard. I'm like, this is stupid. But it's a fun movie. Also, Chubbs' son in the movie, they don't even try to hide the fact that he's clearly holding a fake hand in his sleeve. Like, it's even worse than the original. like his arm is clearly like 5-6 inches longer because of the fake hand. Like, you could tell they didn't even try, and that was funny to me. But it was, and like I said, some things were over the top, it was almost cringe. But overall, like I said, the jokes were good. The first half of the movie was good, but realistically, like a 6.5 for me, for Happy Gilmore 2. And I did watch the original one just like a week earlier, like a few days earlier. Like, there was not a lot of a time gap between me watching the first one and the second one. So it's definitely it's watchable. If you like Adam Sandler, you're gonna have a good time like I did. Like I said, it's a perfect Adam Sandler movie. It just, I don't like how the story played out, and that's okay too. That's perfectly fine. So it's not, it's gonna vary for everybody. Your mileage will vary on Happy Gilmore 2, but 6.5 out of 10 for me. Now let's talk about Fantastic Four: First Steps, which is a good movie, but not great to me. I ended up not liking Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards. And you guys know on here I talked about, that makes me excited. It makes me more excited than I've ever been about Fantastic Four. And I know the internet loves to hate on like the 2005 movie. I like that movie. I don't like the second one, the Silver Surfer movie, not that good. The first one I enjoy watching with Chris Evans and stuff and Jessica Alba. It's not, I'm not saying that I love it, but I enjoy watching that movie. I've not seen the Josh Trank Fan Four Stick disaster. This movie is a good movie. And let me clarify this. It's a good movie. I don't think it's the best superhero movie of this year, though. I would put Thunderbolts above it. Superman's the best superhero movie this year. Definitely movie of the summer. Fantastic Four, in my opinion, is like third on the superhero list for 2025. Ebon Moss-Bachrach, amazing, though, as Thing. So that's great. Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, awesome. Why can't I think of his name as Johnny Storm? Fantastic Four. The music by Michael Giacchino, amazing. Let's see. Fantastic Four: First Steps. Why can't I think of it? Joseph Quinn. as Johnny Storm. He's really good there. I did like Julia Garner as Shala Ball, the Silver Surfer. Ralph Ineson as Galactus, one of the best parts of the movie. My issue with the movie, too, though, is I got kind of bored in the second half. I should not be getting bored when, like, the climax is about to drop. At all. Not in a Marvel movie. I also didn't think the CGI on Johnny was that good, personally. There's flaws, but it's not bad. I just didn't enjoy it like I thought I would. And going back to Pedro as Reed, like, I like Pedro because he's usually boisterous and fun and just always having a good time. In this movie, he's like a fucking stick in the mud, and he plays like this antisocial genius almost too perfectly that I'm just like, I don't like that character at all. Not fun. Not a fun character. Like, give me John Krasinski's Reed back almost. So yeah, dude, I was very excited to see him in the role and then disappointed on screen. Plot's interesting. Galactus is very well done in the end of the movie, and I think they used practical sets partly for that scene, so that was cool. What's with movies and building like devices that are necessary for human survival near like landmarks and world wonders? Why do we do that? So that if something happens, it could destroy the landmark? Why is that a thing? Huh? The 60s vibe, amazing. The one downside, everyone's like, Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. Paul Walter Hauser as Mole Man. The dude has like not even 5 minutes of screen time. What? That I wanted more of. I wanted more of that. The other thing I like, though, is that it hits the ground running. A lot like Superman, where it's just like, you're in the world. You don't need to know how they got their powers. We've seen that too many times. I think everybody knows that about the Fantastic Four at this point. On the flip side, though, the movie feels like it's running at breakneck speed. And I don't say that a lot about movies, because I know people have levied that at some movies lately. I'm levying that at the Fantastic Four. It almost just like zooms. You don't get enough time with some of the other characters in the movie, and at the detriment, the whole stuff with John Malkovich was cut. Do I recommend it? Yeah. Because it's still a fun and decent movie. I just didn't care for it as much as I thought I would. So it's a 7 out of 10 for me. Again, everyone's going to be different. Some people are going to be more hyped. Some people are going to love it. I don't know. There's good jokes. There's good comedy, especially with Herbie and stuff, and when they're baby-proofing the Baxter building. Herbie also, great, like, practical effect in that movie. But I don't know, man. Maybe I put my expectations too high for Fantastic Four, and just came out feeling wanting more. But those were my thoughts on Fantastic Four. That's it for Nick's Nerd News this week. 7 out of 10. Let me just repeat that for Fantastic Four. But that's it this week. Comic-Con news. That was cool. I should have a review of The Naked Gun next week, because I'm way more excited for that movie than anything. I love the Leslie Nielsen movies. I used to watch those on VHS all the time. So I'm excited. It's getting good reviews. People are saying it's a comedy movie we needed. So hopefully I enjoy that movie. No, I kid. I'll go in with, I don't want to have too high expectations either. I don't want to have too low. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's been a while since we've had real dumb comedy like that. So that will be next week. And yeah, that's like I said, that's it for Nick's Nerd News this week. I will catch you guys on the flip side.
This has been a production of Nick's Nerd News. Please do not use without implicit faxed permission.